Hello, everyone. This is Melina and
Jordan.
we are the board certified BAes.
BAes.
Oh, I thought you were gonna keep going.
What? What are we doing here with our
I thought you
shoulders?
were gonna do the echo. BAes.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year. It's still kind of New Year ish. It's
Yeah.
the first 3 months, so that counts as the New Year, right?
Yeah. I guess it depends on when we post this one.
It'll be in the first 3 months. So, anyways, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about ABC data collection.
Nice.
Yeah. It is very important. And
It
I think
is.
we should. And it can help a lot of families out there. And I've also seen on like Reddit and stuff that people had a really hard time with this.
Why?
I don't know. Like people when they were studying, I guess, had a really hard time with ABC data collection.
I feel like this should be a fundamental, like starting in the field.
Yeah. I mean, it helps with everything.
Yeah.
But yet, we still screw up with it.
Well, I'm glad that we're going over it today then, because I did not know that a lot of people struggle with this one.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you the first question.
Okay.
What is ABA?
What is ABA?
No, I'm just kidding. What is ABC data collection?
Taking ABC data. I mean, you mean what does the ABC stand for?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have our antecedent, what happens before a behavior occurs. We have our B, behavior. And we have our C, consequence, what happens after the behavior occurs.
There we go. See? Yay. So when we're talking about ABCs, there's a reason it helps. Why does it help?
We can try to start to pinpoint why things are happening.
Absolutely. So if you're at home and if you're a parent and you have your kid doing something on a regular basis, if you know what's happening before it, you know what's happening after it, you can maybe figure out why it's happening.
Or if you're reinforcing something without realizing it.
Yes, but when you're taking ABC like data collection, you really need to make sure that you are being thorough, honest, and objective. I think as parents, as clinicians, as good people, we always try to sugarcoat or we add a little fluff or pad the data, in order to make it look like our kiddo is performing well in the eyes, which is why we have assessments and things like that we do as behavior analysts to try and make sure that we stay objective. But that is why when we are talking with parents or we're talking to individuals, those are indirect assessments because we're not directly observing anything. And we also know that the questions that we're asking are going to be answered subjectively.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're going to be, if you've had a really, really hard day, and then, your kiddo tantrums, right, for 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes feels like an eternity because it's stacked on top of a hard day. So you might be saying like, oh yeah, they tantrum for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? But it's only a couple of minutes. And that happens, it can happen both ways too. If you've had a really amazing day, you just won the lottery or something like that, and you come home and your kiddo has a tantrum, it's like, oh, they barely do that. It was like, it lasted like a minute. It was a good day, right? But that's because everything went into that. And that's why in this field, it's so important for us to stay objective. And ABC data collection is one of those things that we can use in order to stay objective.
Yep.
So what that like looks like, or the main purpose behind it is in order to identify patterns of behavior. It's really hard to do that if you just, watching, observing, and like not actually recording or putting that anywhere to be able to pull it out. So if we're able to stay objective and write that stuff down, it can be helpful. And the more you do it too, the good thing about it, at least I think, is that you start to see it without having to write it down. But in the beginning, you have to write it down so you get practice of doing that.
Yeah. Or if you have like, you have your, speaking from a BCBA perspective, if you have your team doing it, different people on the team, it can also pinpoint if something's only occurring either a certain time of the day or with a certain staff, things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to get into like helping parents or helping people with the test for this, can you explain what an antecedent is?
It's what happens before the behavior. So literally right before the behavior occurred, what's going on.
Does it have to be an instruction?
No.
What does that mean?
I mean, is this a trick question?
No.
Okay, no. Okay, so
Why would it be a trick
I
question?
don't know, but no, it doesn't have to be. So, like for example, maybe I with my own child, um, it could be something that I'm doing without realizing it. So maybe it's like every time I walk to the fridge, then a behavior occurs. It's like, oh, okay, something's going on here. So it could be literally like anything that is in the environment, right?
Yeah.
That, anything that occurs before the behavior. It doesn't have to just be an instruction. It doesn't have to be just a direction. It could just be environmental changes.
Sure. So I'm going to give you a pop quiz in the middle.
Oh, man.
Ready? You're just going to tell me if it's an antecedent, yes or no.
Okay.
Okay. The light's being on. Is that an antecedent?
It can be.
Okay. I just want yes or no.
But that's a trick question because it can be.
Uh-huh. So can the
So
answer is can it be an antecedent?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Dog barking,
Yes.
eating breakfast,
Yes.
walking the dog,
Yes.
going potty,
Yes.
having a mother,
Having a mother?
yelling at them,
Okay. Yes.
having to wake up,
Yes.
eating ice cream,
Yes.
getting paid,
Yes.
eating chocolate.
Yes. My question for
homework.
you. Wait, I have a question for you. When we say behavior, does behavior always mean something non-preferred?
No. So when we get to that, when we get to B, we were still on A.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought it was just like a free-flowing kind of thing. You can tell we don't rehearse, guys.
This is A. No, but it was the reason why I said those and did that was because I wanted to highlight the fact that all these things that we see as good things, eating chocolate, ice cream, going out to dinner, all those can potentially be antecedents or something.
Oh, yeah. I just thought of when you said like the chocolate. A kiddo that we worked with, that was like an antecedent because they had like sugar issues. It's just like literally anything can be an antecedent.
Yeah. So, and then we get into the deeper ones of the ones that we would normally think of that could be triggers for behaviors of doing homework, being told to do something that they don't want to do, getting in trouble, all those things. Sure. But we don't think about often outside of being in this field is that absolutely anything, any stimuli, any stimulus, right, that is present or even not present can be an antecedent.
Commercial on YouTube.
Yeah. Right. So that's the first thing that we need to know about ABC data is that you need to write down all the things that are happening. Okay. So I can give a good example after we get through the ABC. Do you want to do the B then? Because you already started, because you cut me off at the A.
B is behavior.
Yes, it is.
It's what we do. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
Well, you gave me a quiz question in the middle, so I was like.
So let me ask you a question. I'm just kidding. So yeah, behavior doesn't mean something always non-preferred. It's just literally the behavior. What was the behavior? So antecedent, you get paid. Behavior, you pay your bills.
Sure.
Right. Or it can be something that's non-preferred. So again, it's just the.
I think
action that occurs.
The statement that we read in the textbook and that we get told is that behavior is anything a dead person cannot do.
Right. Can a dead man do it?
It's sad to think about, but it just means that everything that we do throughout the day is a behavior. Right.
Like how he's flicking his finger that you can't see.
Probably hear it. Is that a problem?
No, I was just saying. Or like how I just picked the lint off of my sweater.
Yeah. Drinking coffee, breathing, right? Walking, talking, all those things are behaviors. And we need to know that too, because we often, and teachers too, will often say like, yeah, exhibiting, having behaviors, and we always think of those negative things. Like, that's not good behavior. We don't acknowledge good behavior. We acknowledge bad behavior all the time. That's just life. We learn to do that. But knowing that behavior is absolutely anything and everything that we can do, it helps to paint a picture of why things are happening. Because then we get into the consequence, and which is the C, and the consequence stands for whatever happens after the behavior. Now, the consequence doesn't have to be bad, which is what the word consequence is associated with. But in the field, we use consequence as a way to mean something that happened after a behavior. Right? Whatever occurred after the behavior is a consequence, right? So, is getting yelled at after doing something. All this is going to be after something happens. Getting yelled at is a consequence. Getting a hug from mom is that a consequence. Getting put on timeout. What about getting paid? Right? Exactly. All these, good or bad, are consequences. Now, the reason why ABC data gets important is because you take all the things that are happening that you've written down that happened before the behavior, after the behavior, and during the behavior, and you end up with putting together a pattern of when that behavior occurs. What happens? What's the outcome that the individual gets? What is the triggering events that are present before the behavior starts? And if we detail those down long enough, we start to figure it out.
Yeah.
Then we can make changes.
Yep.
And help them. Or see better ways. All right. So as an example, you would, if I had a client, we walked outside the sliding glass door, right? And they wanted to go outside. So it's seemingly a happy place, right? But then they instantly stood outside and they had a tantrum. Okay. Now the question is why? So I need to, as a behavior analyst, I need to take data on all the things that are present before that tantrum started. Okay. So that could be, and let's just say if I label 10, like kiddo put on their shoes, we opened the screen door, it was cloudy, so the sun wasn't there. There was a dog barking, there were birds flying, the favorite swing was broken, the sprinkler was on.
Did you have to say they had to put their shoes on?
The oven was on. I gave them instruction. I opened the door. Right. So now we got 10 things. Right. Now, I don't know what was the one that triggered that because there are 10 present events there. But if you do that again tomorrow and the same thing occurs, but let's say the sprinklers aren't on and there's dogs not barking, well, now I can decrease that down to there's 8 possibilities that this behavior is occurring for. And then I have a somewhat of a pattern that I'm starting to build. The other thing too to take note of is what is the consequence that happened after that. So if I say we go back inside and the tantrum stopped, well, now it's like, okay, maybe going outside wasn't the thing. So we pay attention to both sides. Because if we go back inside, I'm also removing dog barking, sprinklers being on, seeing a broken swing, having to put on your shoes, like all those are being removed. So I can try that without removing them as well. And we might end up with answers from that side. So the consequence can really be the motivator behind why the behavior occurred.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Do you have another example? Do you like that example? Or was that too much?
It was a good example. I think of like the simple ones, like just everyday life. Because I think when we do PC, it's easy to also break it down so that it's like literally we all do these things every single day. And sometimes it's easy to start off tracking just like the little things. So like, the light turns green. The behavior is then you drive through the light. And then the consequence is you went through safely, right? If it was the opposite, the light turned red, then the consequence would be you probably get in a car accident, right? So just tracking those ABCs and like everyday life things can be also a great help for parents to kind of understand a little bit quicker. I think sometimes the words seem intimidating. Antecedent, So I think when we just kind of simplify it in that way, where it's like simple, 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 it can be helpful too for parents to then be able to get the understanding of the routine of it. Okay, this is what I'm looking for, as they're writing down data on their own kiddos or themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is intimidating having big words like antecedent and consequence. So just looking at it, the ABC kind of works. It's like, what's first? Then just think of behavior. The B is behavior all the time, and then consequences is whatever comes next after the behavior. So it is important to break it down for families that way. So you clinicians out there that are doing or trying to get your parents to take ABC data, well, just make sure that you're breaking it down so that they can understand why it's important. Not only why it's important, but like how to do it easily. And the best way you can do that is by making it relate to the things that they're doing. If they're hungry, right, and they see a sign for a drive-through, their behavior, they drive through. Their consequence, they get their food. They're more likely to go through a drive-through another time somewhere in the future when all the circumstances are the same, because their outcome was now they're no longer hungry. They got something that they wanted. They're happy. These things exist all the time, and what we do in ABA is make it simple. We make it so you can see it clearly. We break it down into those small, teachable, digestible parts, which is helpful for making meaningful change. But when we come in heavy on the language and like, this is what you need to do, this is why you need to do it, and just leave, well, we're not really showing them the value and the importance of doing it. I've had I could share a ton of great success stories. I won't get into them, but like I could share a bunch of great success stories of families figuring out why certain behaviors are happening at home in particular and not with us and things like that, because, we taught them how to take ABC data and then just analyzed it with them, right? Worked on small tweaks. But yeah, I mean, the big part is it helps us understand the reason why behavior is happening, and that particular behavior.
Yeah.
Right. Helps us find those patterns and helps make things easier. Helps us start painting a picture.
Yeah. That's good.
Anything else?
No, I think you kind of covered everything.
And anybody that's popped in on Reddit and had the questions about that, and you see this, you can message us, because ABC's is like a foundational point.
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. So,
not for them.
Yeah.
But it should be. And we can help with that.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add? Anything else?
No, just that I think I guess, yes. Just that we tend to forget that even though this is like something that is simple, can definitely help parents give you a lot of information, even if you're not there. So if you haven't used PC or used ABC data with your parents in PC anytime recently, consider it.
There's actually, I guess there's one other point that I could put, is that you have like, I'm forgetting the term right now, but you have like a single ABC data collection, but you also have continuous. So you have the two types. And I know I've worked with staff before on doing continuous ABC data collection, where the consequence for like the first ABC also becomes the antecedent for the second ABC, right? And so you end up with, ABC, 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 and you keep going. And you do that for a certain amount of time to help figure out like why, or like how many antecedents have been like triggering, certain events and things like that. And I've worked with a few staff that had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
And doing it continuously.
Yep.
And how there's a big benefit to it.
Yeah.
And when I say like helping families, I don't tell families to do that. I have them do more of the singular one, where it's just like that instance.
Yeah. And I think too, I know it's not exactly the same, but I think the more you do this, even just on your own, it's easier to kind of see when there are layered antecedents kind of going on.
Yeah. Especially if you do continuous, you've got like, so we said no 2 times that they asked like 2 times ago, and then we said no again. So every 2 times we're saying no to something. Okay, 6 minutes in, we're at 12 denied access points. Okay,
Denied
I see why
access is
they're
hard for this kid.
Yeah, I see why we're escalating at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, that actually paints as a good example, because when I was working with some staff, they didn't realize at the time that if you didn't say no, it was still denied access. So, like, okay, we're gonna go over here. Instead of saying you're all done with your toys, like that's still denied access.
Yeah.
And so when doing continuous, I was like, okay, we've actually got like denied access so many times, but you never said the words no, or don't do that, or stop, or anything like that. How do we like prevent these from happening so we don't have this behavior so frequent?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it can be very helpful.
Yeah.
Even for us. Sometimes we forget to do it, or forget to have our staff do it on a frequent basis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. If I had to ask you a question,
You have to think of one.
yeah, I would have to think of one.
I got out of it.
No, I got one for you. What is one thing that you're wanting to learn this year in our field, or like learn more about in our field this year?
Big question. I think I would like to learn more about some of the tools that people are coming up with to help us be more successful.
Okay.
I think that's mine.
Cool.
Do you have any? I'm going to ask that question back, because it's a good one.
I think only because I have a 8-month-old right now. Not that I really feel like it can apply to her as much right now, but I'm already like, what if this is a problem long term? I'm really interested in like people that specialize in sleep. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd be interested to see what that looks like in our field, like working on sleep, because we just don't do that. So it's just that'd be something that I'm like curious about. I don't, just from a parent perspective though.
Okay. It's a good one. It's like relates to our life for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, as he's yawning.
It's like not really very specific to our field, but yeah.
It is not, but there are BCBAs that are trained to do stuff
training
that is sleep related. So
yep,
I know nothing about that. That's what I'm saying. That would be interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye for now, guys.